Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Tony Winston here. Going to cover four things today, four different videos, and all by request from you. The first video, the one you're watching now, is going to be on Stablemates by Benny Golsen. And then I'm going to do Someday My Prince Will Come. We're going to listen to Miles Davis and his piano player Wynton Kelly and kind of figure out what's going on there. Then I have a little thing about the girl from Ipanema. It's a pretty simple video. It's just why you should not use the tritone substitution at the end of the bridge. And then the last thing is going to be how not to get lost when you're playing a long form like a So What, you know, where you've got like 16 bars on D minor and you don't want to miss that change to go into E flat minor. And how do you keep from getting lost? And do you have to count bars or whatever? All right, we'll try to cover all that stuff. So Stablemates. I've got the Jamie Aebersold book here, and I've got the CD all queued up in my stereo over there. So I'm gonna take just a right hand solo, and you're gonna see now why I'm not a jazz piano player really. 254 beats per minute, and that is above my pay grade. I'll just tell you right now. I'll get through it, but you know that's about all you can say. All right, let's fire that thing up.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So usually I like to leave the piano track on these recordings because, you know, I get ideas from the chord voicings that they're using and just helps me focus a little bit more on soloing. But in this particular one, the piano is kind of, I don't know, it's not helping me any. So I turned the piano track off and I'm going to try it again with the just the bass. And so I'll have to play a few chords too.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
going to quit while I'm ahead. In a way, I found that just playing the chords, I'm so used to playing a certain kind of thing with my right hand with a certain kind of chord in the left hand that it actually helped me to play the chords. it was a little bit better. So let's talk about this song. Now, first of all, when you're playing a song like this, it's important to wear a nice shirt, okay? All right, just wear a nice shirt. And also, let's transpose this song into the key of C. It's in the key of D flat. It's written without a key signature, but let's take it down a half step into the key of C so we can all understand it, all right? And, you know, it starts off, and now I'm going to transpose everything. Now, it starts off with E to A, so I'm going to make that E flat to A flat. All right, now that's not really in the key of C, but that's like, you know, if you're doing a 3-6-2-5-1 in C, 3-6-2-5-1, a real common thing is to go 3-6 and then sneak in this real quick and then onto that. And so that's kind of what this song is doing. It's using that little kind of out of the key chord first and then gets into the key. And a very similar song to this would be Moment's Notice by John Coltrane. And I noticed the copyright on this is 1954, so it may be that John Coltrane got the idea for his harmonic inventions, or, you know, from somebody like Benny Golsen. I mean, you know, everybody takes from everybody else, and a lot of times the people that get the credit for something, you know, really great. So anyway, if we're in E flat, A flat, and then we got 2-5-1 in our home key, right? And then it was like this. Now that's kind of like the move, you know, like going to F, but it's an altered chord there. And then, you know, what's a good place to go from key of C up to the key of F? So you do a 2-5-1 into F, all right? And then to get to a 3-6-2-5-1, you go up to the minor 7 flat 5, like that. And see, then you're just following the cycle of fifths, right? And then you got that, and back to C, okay? So that's, you know, there's the analysis in the key of C, and here it is in the key of D flat. Our 2-5-1 is E flat to A flat, but first we're going to be a half step higher, then do it. Down a half step to our altered chord, and then a 2-5-1 taking us to the 4 chord, right? Then up a half step, and this begins not a 3-6-2-5, but, you know, let's see, 3-6-2-5. Let's say a 4-7-3-6-2-5. How about that? Except it's not, well, 7, yeah. It just goes around the cycle there. So that's not too hard to deal with. Then in the bridge here, and let's just stick in D flat here, you know. I'm poking fun at one of my harassers a little bit here on YouTube. Hey, if you want to harass me, go to Facebook. So the bridge goes to F minor. Now that's the 3 chord of D flat, so you can kind of think of it as just staying in D flat, because the next chord would be the 4 chord, G flat. But then here's where it gets a little odd, and you notice I stumbled over this little section. This is right here at the beginning of this B section. It's probably where I had the most trouble. F, G flat, and that's unaltered. Then you're going up to an altered chord. And then it's really cycle of fifths. You know, when you go down in half steps, it is really the cycle of fifths, kind of. But, you know, that shouldn't be too hard to do. You find something cool to play and just keep moving it down. All right, and there's that 5 chord. Wants to take us back to the key of D flat. And how do we get there? Through this wild, crazy way of doing it. All right, with the E and the A, and then the E flat and the A flat, and then D flat. And I think it's just like the beginning, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, to solo over this song, you just have to know 2 5s and 2 5-1s and be able to think very quickly and kind of blend those scales together. So I did listen to the original Benny Golsen recording, and it was a tiny bit slower, but it still cooks along pretty darn fast. So a great way to handle this first little change is to do something like this. Oh, sorry. And then do it down a half step. And then you're right into D flat. you could get away with a little blues there. And then here's a 2-5-1 in the key of G flat. Key of G flat, okay? That's like E flat minor, you know. Take 5 is in that key. So if you're going to play this song, you might need to know a little bit about the key of G flat. All right, and you know, a few months ago I was playing every song in this key, but I've kind of lost the ability once again to play in this key effectively. But if you do a tritone substitution and go A flat to like a G, then you can deal with a lot of white keys here. And then, you know, try to end on the 9th or the 3rd or the sharp 11 or something beautiful. Don't end on the G flat. Oh, you know, a lot of times you end up there anyway. It's better though if you don't. Okay, and then, you know, it's not much different if you're on G flat major and then you change to this chord. You know, all you really do is change the F sharp to a G, and then the scale basically remains the same. And that's the beginning of a 2-5-1 in F. And of course, F is your 3 chord, so you can start thinking in D flat right here. And just soloing ideas in general, you know, you can practice like patterns all the way through, so that if you get into a cool pattern, you don't, you know, screw it up and you know, get stuck out there on a limb. You can do things like, let's take a little pattern like this. I don't know where you go with that, but then you could also try little things like where you're just kind of doing scaling type patterns. You can do some arpeggios. And you know, all these rootless voicings I'm playing, they work great in the solo. You know, you can. How would I do that? And another thing too is if you're struggling to find a melody and something to improvise over a particular set of chords, look back to the original melody and see how that's functioning. Like, what's a hard spot for me to deal with here? Yeah, the D flat to the C sharp 9 to the A flat minor. So what happens there in the melody? It goes... all right, so we're on D flat. Yeah, it's kind of bluesy there, like that. So we could try, when we get to the D flat, we'll be a little bluesy. Let's see if that works. Yeah. All right, another place that's kind of hard is right there at the beginning of the bridge, and let's see what the melody is. Okay, so we got that common note, and then we've got like, all right, so you know, that looks maybe like a whole tone scale, or like a, you know, it says a sharp 9, but the melody doesn't play the sharp 9. The melody plays the 3rd there. So maybe like, you know, an augmented triad would work, or the whole tone scale, something like that. Let's give it a try and see what happens. So here we are at the bridge, F. Yeah, you see, it'll work. And I mean, you could use the altered scale too. Right? You're just going from there to there, so you could just do something chromatic, like do whatever works here. And then, of course, you're on your way down. So you get all the way down there to A flat. So let's try that bridge again. That's a much better tempo for me. But let's try that tempo again. What the hell?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know, another thing too, if you're caught up playing at a really fast tempo and you don't feel like it's, you know, really within your grasp to play at that fast tempo, keep your ideas very simple, and let's try that.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, screw it. There it is, Stablemates. Best I could do. I'd just say practice at slow tempos, keep your ideas simple, and practice 2-5-1s in all keys.